New York City is home to more than 8 million people. For many, one question shapes nearly every part of life. Can I afford to stay here? Affordable housing isn't just about buildings. It's about families, neighborhoods, opportunity, and billions of public and private dollars invested in shaping the future of the city. One of the largest nonprofit affordable housing developers in New York City is Phipps Houses. For decades, Phipps has built and managed affordable housing across the 5 boroughs. Its mission is clear: provide quality housing and strengthen communities. But as its footprint has grown, so has the complexity of the organization. So today we're taking a closer look at the publicly available documents, financial filings, and organizational records to better understand how this nonprofit operates. This isn't a story about reaching conclusions before examining the evidence. It's about asking informed questions and following the money. Phipps Houses has been a part of New York City's affordable housing landscape for more than a century. Its development spanned neighborhoods throughout the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, and Brooklyn. Its work often involves partnerships with city agencies, state housing programs, tax credit financing, lenders, and nonprofit affiliates. Affordable housing projects are rarely simple. A single development may involve multiple legal entities created for financing, ownership, management, and long-term compliance. Understanding the structure is one of the goals of this investigation. Every year, tax-exempt organizations file IRS Form 990. These forms provide a window into governance, executive compensation, and organizational structure. Now, according to the Schedule J filing provided for the 2025 tax year, Phipps Houses reported executive compensation that includes salaries, bonuses, retirement contributions, and other benefits for senior leadership. The president and CEO's total reported compensation exceeded $1 million for the year. Now, keep in mind, that's including salary, bonuses, deferred compensation, and benefits. The filing also states that certain bonuses are discretionary and approved by the board based on annual performances, and the CEO participates in a deferred compensation plan under Section 457F of the Internal Revenue Code. These disclosures are required by law, and by themselves, they do not at all indicate any wrongdoing. Instead, they provide transparency. They provide the transparency into how executive compensation is structured. That raises a broader public interest and a broader public spectrum of questions. How should an executive's compensation be evaluated alongside an organization's mission, financial performances, and service to residents? One of the most striking sections of the filing schedule are, rather than showing a single organization, it identifies a large network of affiliated entities. These filings list numerous LLCs, HDFCs, management corporations, partnerships, and related nonprofit organizations connected to housing developments all throughout New York City. Many are named after specific projects, some are named after neighborhoods. Others appear to serve management, ownership, financing, or development functions. Now, large affordable housing organizations often use separate legal entities for individual developments. That practice can reflect financial requirements, tax credit structures, liability separation, or regulatory compliance. The filing themselves do not, at any means, do they not say that the structure is improper, but they do illustrate just how extensive the organizational network has become. For members of the public, that complexity raises an important question. How easy is it to understand where the money flows? Who owns which assets, and how related organizations interact? In the next chapter, we'll take a closer look at those related entities, examine examples of transactions reported between them, and explore how affordable housing financing works in practice. We'll also turn our attention to Bronx Community Board 6, where redevelopment and rezoning continues to shape the future of the neighborhood. Because understanding affordable housing isn't only about buildings. It's about accountability, transparency, and communities those buildings are meant to serve. All right, and with that said, I want to say thank you all for sticking with me. If you have anything at all to add, good, bad, or indifferent, please by all means leave it below in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'm actually circling back on this. As you've seen, I actually went for the initial pitch. Before we get into this, so I've actually dubbed her Professor Storm, as in the X-Men Aurora Storm, because you know she was a professor at Xavier's School for Gifted Children. But she's a school teacher here in New York City. And I want you to listen to her cook because she dropped some wonderful, wonderful points. And pay attention to their feedback to her points and challenging their narrative or, what do we call it? Agenda.
So I'm going to break this up in segments so that way you guys have a chance to process and think about your response before you guys actually answer the question. So the last time you guys came here, I asked you about a survey that you guys did with the community before putting this proposal. And if so, how many residents have you guys spoken to? And what was some of the main concerns brought up to the people? And will those surveys results be shared publicly with the board and the community?
Transparency.
So in terms of survey, we've talked with the residents about this project. The residents, like the idea. Some of them know that newer construction from MAPES unit sizes are generally smaller, but in this case, not that much smaller. So they're figuring out. They have a lot of questions, as you might imagine. Some of the questions that came up here. Will I be right-sized, up or down? These are questions that are being asked, but we are in conversation with the tenants about that and trying to find out what their thoughts and ideas and their questions are. And so we will continue to have discussion with the tenants of this property about this, about this plan to rezone, rebuild, and then relocate them to a new building. Some are excited. As you can imagine, Mapes Court is a walk-up building with 5 stories. Some like the idea of having a building with an elevator and some other amenities. So, there's a mix, as you might imagine, but we certainly did hear, and we certainly are having discussion with them, and we'll continue those discussions about how we provide, the best service for them.
So that's a no, because what I asked at my last part of my question would be, is the survey results going to be shared?
Oh, my apologies. We did not do a survey.
To keep going because I know we have a sake of time. I mentioned schools. What conversations have been had with the schools in the next bill? That usually means more family and more children are moving into the area, which means classroom sizes are going to increase, right? We're going to have schools where they may not have the services that these students need or have the access to the resources, right? So I'm just trying to understand how all of this is being connected and planned out just by building the apartments. So that's the second part of the question, and I got 2 more, and then I'll be done.
Okay. So for schools, we work closely with schools throughout FIPS. As was discussed.
Any schools in particular? Can you name a couple of schools that you've spoken to by any chance?
We work with Wings Academy, which is on 180th Street. We work with 313. We work with PS 57. We work with PS 44. I'm just trying to think of the ones that are nearby.
Yeah.
In addition to,
you have PS 59, you have MS 118, you have MS 45, you have Crotona Park East, which is in the Dodge campus, which houses over 6 high schools, along with the Theodore Roosevelt. Mm-hmm. You also have the elementary school, Our Lady of Mount Carmel. You have the annex of PS 23. Mm-hmm. This is where the overflow will go. And then you also have PS 52, and then you have PS 32.
Mm-hmm.
Especially location 182nd. That's my zoo.
Mm-hmm.
Turn in there on a Saturday. Once summer starts hitting after Memorial Day, you cannot come down that block. Okay? Because traffic is turning towards the zoo. It's packed. That's a real congested piece area. Now you're going to add another 350 apartments. I'm not even talking about people. And that's going to include cars. How did you guys address that in your study, and how did the city respond to that overload? And the reason I'm saying that, because I'm listening to the city, HPD, and all these city agencies. They're saying, oh, it's okay. And we're asking questions because the city has not provided you guys with complete responses, I feel. A lot of things that impact us that are addressed very lightly. How about our police? We are already understaffed at the police department. Is that addressed in your study? Those are the things that matter, because they're life safety issues. And Eugene made a good point. You know, we have gang issues, and we need people to be busy.
That's right.
Because otherwise, you're going to continue to have the same effects you have everywhere throughout this community. We're still trying to fix.
Did you say that you potentially would have a community center in this building?
Not a community center, community facility space.
So not open to the public?
No. So, community facility space, it's a 15,000 square foot, and there's what's called a use group type, and there's certain uses that are allowed for a space like that. So
not a community center.
Oh, not a community space.
Not a community
It's
center.
the verbiage. This is what we're saying. It's the verbiage. It's like,
but hold on.
Facility, but not a community center.
Hold on.
This is what I'm saying about the trip up.
Yes.
Look, I think it's worth pointing out two things. One is that project is still,
And one of the things I want to touch on before I get busy on the next chapter is when I sat in that room with that community, the one thing that I noticed that was strong in the air was the sense of community. And they all came from different walks of life. They all come there in the evening after their full day at work, and they do what needs to be done for the community. And there was a lot of keen ears in that room, and they didn't just fall prey to the lip service. So when they were told things like community space, they wanted to make sure when the pitch was being given, was that a community center for the people of the community, or community space so that people from within the community can come and practice commerce? So these people are just not there for the sake of just being there to say they're being there. They're there because they care about their community. And I love to see the fight in all of them, and it inspired me. So everyone's story needs to be told. So all of you from the Bronx Community Board 6, if you should happen to see this as I'm progressing through this story with all of you, if you have any insight, if there's anything that you feel I may have gotten wrong and need to be corrected, by all means, send the information to me. One of your own actually has my information, but all my socials are in the description. And you can send me a message. I'll definitely respond. If there's anything any of you want to add as far as your experiences living in Phipps houses, you can always make a video short. And if there's a way, we can possibly work them into one of the videos. I thank you all. Y'all stay safe out there. And remember, we are in the diabolical den of demons, aka the Viper's Pit. So y'all keep your eyes to the stars, and you keep that head on a swivel, because it's a dangerous game and they ain't playing fair out there. But once you learn to spot the signs and the symbols, you can see everything runs on a cosmic clock. But yeah, it is what it is. Y'all be safe and stay dangerous.